is there a policy that could be put in place to do post-approval accountability for the drugs that are already on the market? And then is there any possibility that we could get research done on natural lifestyle solutions or anything other than chemical interventions, something that people can't profit on?
To speak to the first one, the Secretary Kennedy has a blueprint for being able to automate the vaccine adverse event reporting system. It was done in a medical group called the Harvard Pilgrim Medical Group in New England. And this was back, in 2011, the report came out from Ross Lazarus, who was the lead author on the study. And when they did this report, they found that the probable vaccine adverse events were not 1 in a million, they were not 1 in 2 million, they were not 1 in 1,000, they were 1 in 39. And the CDC then suspended all conversations and all contact with those researchers because the CDC, quite frankly, did not want to know, and at that point did not want to automate the VAERS system. But Secretary Kennedy has already talked about automating the VAERS system, and then there's another system that I think that we can apply additional pressure on called the FAERS system, which is for pharmaceutical drug adverse events, and that is run by the FDA. And so I think equal pressure needs to be put on FAERS and VAERS as well.
Yeah, those are good points. So I want to point out that under U.S. regulatory rules, people should submit their adverse events for vaccines and for drugs, not just through these systems, but also to the pharmaceutical companies. Because if enough people submit the same adverse event that was not found in the clinical trials, that then triggers a rule from the FDA to call them back to drawing board and say you have to do more science on it. In that setting, then we have guys like Vinay Prasad, who is absolutely saying, okay, we're going to follow the rules. It's got to be real evidence. You have to meet the gold standard. We're not going to turn a blind eye. We're not going to let you manipulate the data. So yeah, there's every opportunity for, if you have already submitted to VAERS and FAERS, there's no expiration date on this. You can submit your adverse event to the pharmaceutical companies and they have to then report to the FDA that they receive those reports.
Yeah, for the question about the research and how we might be able to consider more lifestyle, more environmental factors in understanding health, which is something I've worked a lot in my own scientific interests. I really see the center of this as NIH. It's really, there is nothing inside NIH's charter that says we have to fund research of interest to particular pharmaceutical interests. There is no reason why entire institutes at NIH have possibly upwards to 80 to 90% of their budgets built around studying certain theories or certain hypotheses that are of interest to particular pharmaceutical interventions. There's essentially nothing in there. There's nothing in NIH that says we have to devote the research funding to these areas.
My question to the panel regarding the statins, based on information we know, why the AMA, that is American Medical Association, won't instruct the doctors to stop, I repeat, to stop writing statin prescriptions?
So many cardiologists will just hide behind standard of care. And, I think that needs to be blown out of the waters, because it's, the standard of care, based on, whatever prevailing authority is something that these individuals hide behind. And it's very, very difficult, but it's almost like they're automatons or they're robots. They hear that, they hear a question about a statin. I'm a heart patient. I had a single bypass surgery in 2021. Yeah, my cardiologist, we of course had the conversation about statins, and all he could say was, oh, well, this is the standard of care, and that's what we have to follow.
There are two views on statins. The views of the doctors who are physicians and they have really healthy patients, and then the doctors who have really sick patients who are also under polypharmacy. The science that was done on statins that showed that they were best in class and safe, they were done on the sick population that were also polypharmacy, and they were compared to other drugs.